Hey everyone, John Martinez here with the REI Sales Academy. And I was just looking over some of my best clients' averages. When I say best clients, I mean those with the highest conversion rates. Some of them do, solo shops that do 5, maybe 10 deals a month. Some are larger organizations that can do 40, 50, 60, 70 deals a month. But what I'm really looking at is who has the best conversion rates, who can take the same leads and turn more of those into deals than others around. So I want to share some of these averages with you so you can kind of gauge your own business and your own numbers and figure out, hey, am I on target or am I not? So I'm going to cover with you lead intake call, how long should those be? Sales calls, how long should those be? How many should an AM take or an investor take during the week? And then a hot sheet as well. If you don't know what that is, I'll explain it to you in a minute. So let's start with lead intake calls. The best of the best on average, these calls are double digits, 10 minutes plus. So if your lead intake calls are running 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, you're probably not seeing as high conversion rates as you could from lead to appointment or sales call. So what that means is you're not building enough rapport, you're not asking enough questions, you're really not having the right conversation. And that leads to a decline in conversion rates to the next step in your sales process. So if you're under 10 minutes, you need to start to re-examine what you're doing and figure out what's missing. Next is AM sales calls. So this number is going to be belly-to-belly, face-to-face types of calls. And of course, there's going to be some changes for how far an AM needs to travel. For example, if it's Southern California, it might take 2 hours to get to an appointment. If it's a town like I live in, Springfield, Missouri, you can factor in maybe 15 minutes of drive time each way. So there's some variables, right? But on average, what we see is each acquisition agent or investor is really booking somewhere between or running somewhere between 10 and 12 appointments a week. That's the max. We see appointments 15, 20 a week, no higher conversion rates. In fact, less conversion rates, same amount of sales. So let me just put that into perspective. We've worked with teams where the AMs or the investor is running 10 to 12 appointments a week. They up the marketing. They're now running 15 to 20. Maybe with the 10 to 12, they're getting 3 deals. With the 15 to 20, they're getting 3 deals. Now, the reason why this happens is there's really a sweet spot with how many appointments you can go on. When you start to book too many, here's what happens. Number one, you start rushing through. You start prejudging, cherry picking, and rushing through appointments because you got so many more to go to and not a lot of time. The other thing that typically starts to happen when you have too many appointments is you just rush the sales process. Think of it this way. If you had 1 appointment a week, you would crush it, right? You want more than 1, obviously, but you would do everything possible you could to close a deal. You would have the right conversation. You wouldn't rush it. And by the way, those conversations are usually taking 60 minutes plus. We'll talk about that in a moment. But you won't rush it or anything like that. So 10 to 12 appointments a week if you're going face-to-face, belly-to-belly, is really what you need to aim for. Anything more kind of is wasteful. Take that with a grain of salt. Travel time, again, and all these other things can factor into it. Now, I mentioned a second ago, sales appointments, 60 minutes. The best of the best, the ones with really the highest conversion rates, their appointments are running an hour. Now, of course, you can disqualify people early and you might be out of there in 10 or 15 minutes. But I'm talking about if there is a solid opportunity, 60 minutes minimum. If you're not going that long, it's like the lead intake call. You're not asking the right questions. You don't have the right sales process. You're not really taking the seller through all the steps you need to get to the part where you're closing any deal that's closable and getting the best conversion rates possible. So if you're running 15, 20, 30-minute sales calls, and I'm not talking about early disqualifications where you just quickly find out there's not a fit, you're leaving money on the table. You are missing some stuff in your sales process. I'm not sure if it's the motivation piece, the questioning strategy, uncovering objections and deal killers, your presentation, the negotiation. It could be a lot of different things, but you're missing something. Next is going to be AM hot sheet. Here's what I mean by that. A hot sheet are hot leads. Maybe an acquisition manager or an investor goes on some sales calls, and these are the ones you follow up with. These are the ones that, hey, we're close. We've really got some opportunity here. I may not have closed it first call, but I want to follow up because I think this is one that we could get. Now, the numbers you want to look at there are 10 to 20 per acquisition manager or investor if you're doing the buying. Anything more than 10 or 20, you just can't keep up. You can't follow up with 100 people a week, right? If you're running sales calls 10 to 12 a week and you're trying to follow up with 100 people a week, something's got to give. You are not going to do it properly. So what you should do is have your AMs or yourself keep just the hottest 10 for follow-up. The rest needs to be shifted off to an automation or a lead manager or something else. And if it warms back up, then it could come back through the pipeline to you, right? So those are the numbers the best of the best are doing. So hopefully you can use those to compare yourself. Again, lead intake call, 10 minutes or more. Sales calls, 10 to 12 a week. Sales appointments, 60 minutes minimum. Follow-up sheet or hot sheet, 10 to 20 max. Let me give you a few resources in case you need some help with any of this. As far as the lead intake call goes, go to midwestrev.com or reisalesacademy.com or our YouTube channel by the same names, and you'll find a video on lead intake and how to work those calls. I think we've got some scripts out there somewhere too. If you sign up for our email list, I believe you get those scripts. Next is AM sales call, 60 minutes. I've got on YouTube and the website, again, a video on the perfect sales call. What are the different pieces of it? What should you be asking? So go ahead and take a look at that if your calls are under that 60 minutes. So as far as the hot sheet goes and follow-up, I believe we've got videos on YouTube and the website as well on how you should handle follow-ups, what they're meant to do, what they're not meant to do, and so on. So if you need help with any of those, if your numbers aren't in line with the best of the best with any of those, you might want to take a look at those. If you want some more help, go to the website, check out our online academy. We occasionally do boot camps, 1 or 2 a year. So depending on when you're watching this video, one may be coming up, maybe not. And you can get all the information there about working with us in the REI Sales Academy, where we really just outline all the sales process, the words, the talk tracks, different strategies and techniques to keep the conversation going and so forth. So I hope that helps. John Martinez signing out.